bombs to blow. I'd like a complete breakdown of these figures, please. By heart, Mukasto, he learned the poem by heart. Mr. Shafayat is brilliant at crosswords. Terrorists often used bombs to blow up buildings and other kinds of property. You should not blush with shame at your own mistake. Do not brood so much on your misfortune. The project can serve an ecological blow to the locality. He felt bad for no reason at all. The storm burst at 5 o'clock on Monday. I was totally baffled by Nima's behavior. The house is built of bamboo. The man is blind in one eye. Capable of Shokhom, he is capable of solving the problem. Care for Grajjakora, he does not very care for anybody. Care of Jotno, we should take care of our health. Careful of about Jotnoban Hawa, he is careful of his health. He is careful about his health. Callous to Udashin, we should not be callous to the sufferings of the poor. Capacity for Dokhota, we should have capacity for hard work. Cause for Karon, বা ভবিষ্যৎ ঘটনার জন্য, there is no cause for anxiety, উদ্বেগের কারণ নেই. Cause of Karon, what was the cause of his accident, of this accident? Cautious of Shotorko, he is not cautious of his future. Caution against Shabdhan, we should take proper caution against cancer. Certain of about Nishchit, he is certain of passing the examination. He is certain about passing the examination. Certainty of about Nishchata, there is no certainty of it. Othoba, there is no certainty about it. Certificate of Prottoyon Potro, I want a certificate of experience. Certified to Prottoyon Kora, he is certified to my conduct. Characteristic of Boishishto, honesty is a characteristic of his work. Charge to Dabi Kora, he charged the price to me. Charge against Kaharo Birudhe Obhijog, he brought a charge against me. Charge on Obhijukto Kora, the murder was charged on the innocent man. Characterized by Shochinnito, the dramas of Shakespeare are characterized by profound knowledge. Cheat of Protarana Kora, he was cheated of his dues. Claim upon or claim against, I have no claim upon him, or I have no claim against him. Close to Nikote, our house is close to my college. Clear of Mukto, we should always be clear of our debts. Cling to Legetaka, one should cling to one's plan. Clothed with Shojito, clothed with glory, he stood up in the meeting. Clothed in Poshak Porihito, the lady was clothed in white. Clue to Shutro, I found a clue to the mystery. Collaborate with a person or collaborate in or collaborate on, সহযোগিতা করা. The people collaborated with the police in rounding up the dacoits, ডাকাতদল. Commensurate with, সঙ্গতিপূর্ণ. His pay is not commensurate with his qualification. Compatible with, সঙ্গতিপূর্ণ. You should drive the car at a speed compatible with safety. Complacent about, সন্তুষ্ট. You should not be complacent about your examination result. Compromise with, I cannot compromise with you on this issue. Communicate to, খবর দেওয়া. Please communicate the news to my mother. Communicate with, সংবাদ আদান প্রদান করা. I shall communicate with my mother. Coincide with, মিলে যাওয়া. His opinion coincided with me. Compare with, একই জাতীয় জিনিসের তুলনা করা. Nozrol can be compared with Shelley. Compare to, অসম বস্তুর তুলনা করা. Log may be compared to flowers. Commit to, মুখস্থ করা. I committed the poem to memory. Comment on, মন্তব্য করা. He commented on the lecture. Comment to, প্রশংসা করা. The teacher commended the book to the students. Common to, সাধারণ. Death is common to all. Commence on, শুরু হওয়া. Our examination will commence on Monday. Compensate for, ক্ষতিপূরণ করা. He will compensate for the loss. Competent for, উপযুক্ত বা দক্ষ. He is competent for the post. Compete with, প্রতিযোগিতা করা. I shall not compete with you for the post of principal. Complain to, কারো কাছে অভিযোগ করা. The teacher complained to the principal against the unruly students. Complain against, কারো বিরুদ্ধে অভিযোগ করা. The teacher complained to the principal against the unruly students. Comply with, সম্মত হওয়া. He complied with my request. Composed of, গঠিত. Water is composed of oxygen and hydrogen. Compliment on, প্রশংসা করা. The principal complimented the student on his brilliant success. Conceive of, চিন্তা করা. I could not conceive of dishonesty in him. Concentrate on, মনোযোগ দেওয়া. At last the unruly boy concentrate on his studies. Concerned in, সংশ্লিষ্ট. He is not concerned in the plot. Concerned for, উদ্বিগ্ন. Students are concerned for their result. Conclusion of, উপসংহার. People clapped at the conclusion of the meeting. Conclusion to, উপসংহার. This is the conclusion to the story. Concur with, একমত হওয়া. The lawyer concurred with the decision of the client. Condemn to, অপরাধী সাব্যস্ত করা. The criminal was condemned to death. Condole with, সমবেদনা প্রকাশ করা. I condole with my friend on his father's death. Condole on, সমবেদনা প্রকাশ করা. I condole with my friend on his father's death. Conducive to, উপকারী. Early rising is conducive to health. কনফেস টু স্বীকার করা, হি কনফেসড টু হিজ গিল্ট। কনফাইড ইন বিশ্বাস করা, আই ক্যান কনফাইড ইন হিজ অনেস্টি। কনফাইড টু বিশ্বাস করে বলা, আই কনফাইড দ্য সিক্রেট টু হিম। কনফিডেন্ট অফ আত্মবিশ্বাসী, আই এম কনফিডেন্ট অফ মাই সাকসেস। কনফাইন্ড ইন আবদ্ধ, হি ওয়াজ কনফাইন্ড ইন প্রিজন ফর এ মার্ডার কেস। কনফাইন্ড টু সহ্যগত, হি ওয়াজ কনফাইন্ড টু বেড বাই অ্যান অ্যাটাক অফ ডিসেন্ট্রি। কনফর্ম উইথ মিলে থাকা, হিজ ওয়ার্ডস কনফর্ম উইথ হিজ ওয়ার্ক। কনফর্ম টু মেনে চলা, উই আর টু কনফর্ম টু সোশ্যাল নর্মস। কনফর্মিটি উইথ অনুসারে, আই ডিড দ্য ওয়ার্ক ইন কনফর্মিটি উইথ দ্য প্ল্যান। কনফিউজ উইথ তালগোল পাকানো, ডোন্ট কনফিউজ লিবার্টি উইথ লাইসেন্স। Conceal from লুকানো, the criminal concealed many things from the police officer. Congenial to উপযোগী, the climate of the new place is congenial to my health. Congratulate on অভিনন্দন জ্ঞাপন করা, the teacher congratulated the students on their bright result. Connive at উপেক্ষা করা, sometimes a mother connives at her son's fault. Conscious of সচেতন, I am conscious of my duties and responsibilities. Consist of গঠিত, the committee consists of 10 members. Consist in নিহিত হওয়া, true happiness consists in contentment. Consistent with সামঞ্জস্যপূর্ণ, his words were not consistent with his actions. Conspicuous for গুরুত্বপূর্ণ, once Dhaka was conspicuous for Muslim. Conspicuous for গুরুত্বপূর্ণ, once Dhaka was conspicuous for Muslim. Contemporary of সমসাময়িক, Nazrul was contemporary of Tagore. Content with প্রতিযোগিতা করা, he contended with a strong rival. Contiguous to নিকটবর্তী, my resident was contiguous to my college. Contrary to বিপরীত, the student acted contrary to his teacher's direction. Contrast to বৈসাদৃশ্য, his action shows a contrast to his profession. Contrast with বৈসাদৃশ্য দেখানো, he drew a Nazrul contrast with Tagore. Contribute to সাহায্য করা, I contributed a good amount to the flood affected area. Control of বা control over নিয়ন্ত্রণ, the man has no control over his sons. Conversant with পুরোপুরি অবগত, the officer is conversant with all the facts. Converse with আলাপ আলোচনা করা, I conversed with him on our national problems. Converted to ধর্মান্তরিত হওয়া, he was converted to Islam. Convict of অপরাধী বলে রায় দেওয়া, the criminal was convicted of murder. Convinced of বিশ্বাস জন্মানো, the writer was convinced of Jerry's integrity. Cope with কাটিয়ে ওঠা, I attempt to cope with the new environment. Correspond with চিঠিপত্রের আদান প্রদান করা, I regularly correspond with my family. Count for বিবেচিত হওয়া, his father's advice counts for nothing on him. Conversions of প্রচন্ড লোভী, he is conversions of wealth. Conversions on of wealth. Crave for বা crave after লোভ করা, I do not crave for money অথবা I do not crave after money. Credit to জমা করা, the manager credited the amount to my account. Cure of আরোগ্য হওয়া, the patient has been cured of his disease. Cure for প্রতিকার, Napa is cure for headache. Confer on অর্পণ করা, I shall confer a prize on the boy. Confer with পরামর্শ করা, I shall confer with him about your prayer. Confer about কোনো বিষয়ে পরামর্শ করা, I shall confer with him about your prayer. Connected with সম্পর্কিত, I am connected with that matter. Connection with সম্পর্ক, he has no connection with me. Connection between সম্পর্ক, there is no connection between the two. Consent to সম্মতি প্রদান করা, he consented to my proposal. Consent to সম্মতি, he gave his consent to the marriage. Conspire with ষড়যন্ত্র করা, his enemies conspired with his soldiers to ruin him. Conspire against কারো বিরুদ্ধে ষড়যন্ত্র করা, they conspired against the leader. Consult with কারো সাথে পরামর্শ করা, I consulted with him on or about the matter. Consult on or consult about কোনো বিষয়ে পরামর্শ করা, I consulted with him on the problem অথবা I consulted with him about the problem. Contact with যোগাযোগ করা, I have no contact with him. Contempt for ঘৃণা, I have a great contempt for him. Contempt of ঘৃণা, he was guilty of contempt of court. Contended with তৃপ্ত, he is contented with what he has. Contingent on or contingent upon নির্ভরশীল, the success of the mission is contingent on the reception it gets from the public অথবা the success of the mission is contingent upon the reception it gets from the public. Converge on জড়ো হওয়া, people converged on the parade ground. Cooperate with সহযোগিতা করা, I hope you will cooperate with me in this matter. Credence to বিশ্বাস বা প্রত্যয়, I do not give much credence to his report. Culminate in সর্বোচ্চ সীমানায় পৌঁছানো, his fortune culminated in his promotion to the post of managing director. Cast aside ছুঁড়ে ফেলা, as soon as he became rich he cast aside his old friends. Catch at আঁকড়ে ধরা, a drowning man catches at a straw. Change into এক জিনিস হতে অন্য জিনিসে পরিণত করা, the magician changed the frog into a ball. Charge with অভিযুক্ত করা, he was charged with theft. combination of সমন্বয়, the combination of nitrogen and glycerin poses a potent explosive. Confidence in আত্মবিশ্বাস, she has full confidence in her ability. Count upon or count on নির্ভর করা, I count on your help, আমি তার সাথে উপর নির্ভর করি. Creep up বৃদ্ধি পাওয়া, prices are creeping up again. Cruise to জয়লাভ করা, the home team cruised to victory. Curse for অভিশাপ দেওয়া, he cursed himself for his stupidity. 8 men were concerned in the plot. That practice carries over into some modern secret society initiations. The police are going to clamp down on drug dealers. I caught him by the ear. He was charged with treason. He called on me yesterday. He was so consent to me. She was so consented to me. The man was charged with murder. He was confined to bed owing to illness. His words conform to his work. I concur with you on your decision. I always confide in you. He is close to his studies. Are you confident of your performance? You should drive the car at a speed compatible with safety. Don't worry. You can count on me. The school consists of 5 classrooms. Consist in নিহিত থাকা. Consist of গঠিত হওয়া. I don't care about your opinion. It is so noisy that I cannot concentrate on my homework. The bank will compensate the customer for his loss. Most metals expand and contrast with variation in temperature. The guard caught the thief at the corner of science laboratory. What was the clue? New liberalism sets management of our national economic resources. The court ordered that the entire correspondence of the deal should be produced. Do you think your parents will consent to your going on an outing? A Union General is credited with having invented the modern game of baseball in 1839. Safety measures of garment factories must fully comply with the rules of International Labour Organization. We congratulated the Bangladesh cricket team on their wonderful victory. The style of reporting must conform to the prevailing practice. You should try to cut down on coffee. The clerk checked us in and gave us our keys. The match was called off because the weather was bad. My friend is crazy about films. He was concerned for his son's welfare. If you suffer any loss, we will compensate you for that. At the sight of the comic scene, he convulsed with laughter. I do not concur with you in that opinion. How did the accident come about? Your name comes after 9 in the list. You must carry out my order. He reluctantly consented to my proposal. He has great confidence in his assistant. Be careful with your duties. I called on him at his office. Do not cry over spilt milk. The ambassador called upon the president. Dawn on, প্রতিভাত হওয়া. At last the truth dawned on him. Deal in, ব্যবসা করা. He deals in rice. Debar from, বঞ্চিত করা. He was debarred from voting. Deal with, ব্যবহার করা. He does not know how to deal with a person. Decide upon, স্থির করা. The boy has not decided upon his programmer. Decide against, বিরুদ্ধে সিদ্ধান্ত নেওয়া. The judgment was decided against the innocent boy. Dedicate to, উৎসর্গ করা. Our principal has dedicated his life to the service to the college. Defend from, রক্ষা করা. One should defend oneself from evil temptations. Defend against, নিরাপত্তা বিধান করা. We should defend our country against all attacks. Defer to, মুলতবি রাখা. The discussion was deferred to the next meeting. Delete from, বাদ দেওয়া. The book was deleted from the list. Delegate to, ন্যস্ত করা. The power was delegated to the subordinates. Deliberate upon, আলোচনা করা. Deliberate upon, আলোচনা করা. We deliberate long upon the matter. Delight in, আনন্দিত হওয়া. I delight in sports and games. Deliver to, দেয়া. I delivered his letter to his mother. Delve into, গভীর গবেষণা করা. You should delve into the matter. Deficient in, অদক্ষ. The boy is deficient in English. Delighted at, but delighted with, আনন্দ. He is delighted at, or with, he is delighted with the result. Demur to, আপত্তি করা. I do not demur to your request. Demand for, চাহিদা. Jerry had no demand for high amount. Demand from, দাবি করা. I demanded the amount from him. Depend upon, নির্ভর করা. I depended upon his word. Depute to, প্রতিনিধিত্ব করা. He was deputed to attend the meeting. Dependent on, নির্ভরশীল. Our family is dependent on me. Deprive of, বঞ্চিত হওয়া. He was deprived of the poverty. Derived from, পাওয়া. Wordsworth derived much inspiration from his sister. Deserve of, যোগ্য হওয়া. His honesty is deserving of praise. Desire for, or desire of, আকাঙ্ক্ষা. I have no desire for riches. Despair of, হতাশ হওয়া. A lazy boy always despairs of success in life. Descent from, বংশোদ্ভূত. He claims to have descended from a noble family. Desirous of ইচ্ছুক. My father is not desirous of wealth. Destined for, or destined to, নির্ধারিত. I am destined for teaching profession. Destitute of, শূন্য. A strict urchin is destitute of wealth. Destitute of shundar. A street urchin is destitute of wealth. Destructive of or destructive to ক্ষতিকারক. Smoking is destructive of wealth. অথবা smoking is destructive to wealth. Detach from বিচ্ছিন্ন. He is detached from his family. Determined on সংকল্পবদ্ধ. He is determined on carrying on my studies. He is determined on carrying on my studies. Detrimental to ক্ষতিজনক. Smoking is detrimental to health. Deviate from চ্যুত হওয়া. My father never deviated from the truth. Devoid of বর্জিত. He is devoid of common sense. Devote of নিয়োজিত করা. The principal devoted all his energy to the welfare of the college. Descendant of জাত. The Mughals claim to be descendants of the Mongolians. Descent on আক্রমণ করা. Armed thieves descended on the harmless travelers. Desist from বিরত হওয়া. He desisted from the temptation. Die of কোনো কারণে মরা. He died of cholera. Die of কোনো রোগে মরা. He died of cholera. Die from কোনো কারণে মরা. He died from overeating. Die by আকস্মিক বা ইচ্ছাকৃতভাবে মরা. He died by suicide. Die for আত্মত্যাগ করা. We are ready to die for our country. Differ from ভিন্ন হওয়া. The rose differs from marigold. Differ with ভিন্নমত পোষণ করা. I differ with you on this point. Different from পৃথক. This pen is different from that. Diffident of সংশয়ী. A lazy boy is always diffident of success. Disgrace to কলঙ্ক. A notorious boy is disgrace to his family. Disgust with কারো প্রতি কোনো কিছুতে বিরক্ত. The teacher is disgusted with the student at his misconduct. Dislike to অথবা dislike for অপছন্দ. I have a dislike to evil company অথবা I have a dislike for evil company. Displeased with অসন্তুষ্ট. The teacher is displeased with the student. Dispose of ছেড়ে দেয়া. The principal ordered the clerk to dispose of the file. Disqualified for অনুপযুক্ত. You are disqualified for the post for your overage. Dispute with অথবা about অথবা on. There is none to dispute with my right. There is none to dispute with my right. Dissimilar to বিসদৃশ. This pen is dissimilar to that. Distinguish between পার্থক্য দেখানো. Distinguish between the two. Distinguish from এক জিনিস হতে অন্য জিনিসের পার্থক্য দেখানো. He tried to distinguish right from wrong. Distract from অমনোযোগী করা. The music distracted my attention from my study. Distrust of অবিশ্বাস. An honest man has no distrust of anyone. Dispense with বরখাস্ত করা. The headmaster dispensed the clerk with his service. Difference between পার্থক্য. Distrust of অবিশ্বাস. An honest man has no distrust of anyone. Dispense with বরখাস্ত করা. The headmaster dispensed the clerk with his service. Difference between পার্থক্য. What is the difference between the two? Disappointed at কোনো কিছুতে হতাশ হওয়া. He was disappointed at your failure. Disappointed of কোনো কিছুর জন্য হতাশ হওয়া. He was disappointed of the prize. Disappointed with কারোর সাথে হতাশ হওয়া. I am disappointed with him. Disagree with ভিন্নমত হওয়া. I disagree with him on that point. Discriminate from পৃথক করা. You should discriminate good boys from bad ones. Divide into ভাগ করা. He divided the mangoes into 2 equal halves. Difficulty in সমস্যা. I don't think you will have any difficulty in getting a driving license. Discourage from somebody অথবা discourage from something. The weather discouraged people from going out. Divert from বিমুখ করা. He diverted me from my purpose. Divide among অনেকের মাঝে বণ্টন করা. He divided the mangoes among us. Divide between দুইয়ের মাঝে বণ্টন করা. We divided the money between the 2 children. Division among বিভেদ বা বিভক্তি. The division among the various classes of society is not sharply marked as they used to be. Doubt about or doubt of. I have doubt about his success. অথবা I have doubt of his success. Drop to নিচে নামানো. He dropped his voice to a whisper. Due to কারণ অথবা প্রাপ্য. I could not go to college due to my illness. The prize was due to me. The prize was due to me. পুরস্কারটি আমার প্রাপ্য. Dull of both শক্তিহীন. The boy is dull of hearing. Dull at কাঁচা. He is dull at English. Duty to কর্তব্য. We must do our duty to our parents. Dwell in বাস করা. The manager dwells in a gorgeous flat. Dwell upon আলোচনা করা. The teacher dwelled upon the subject. Every man differs in opinion from each other. He is dedicated to his job. He advised us to desist from that attempt. He despaired of success. The divisions among the various classes of society are not so sharply marked as they used to be. You are dull of hearing. He died from over-exercise. Let's discuss the ways of improving the basic skills. Discuss এরপর preposition হয় না. We must discourage people from throwing trust in public places. Selfie culture is demonstration of modern superficiality. Rini was debarred from appearing at the examination. The young man was dressed in a suit. He drank lemon to his heart's content. Because of discrimination against women, she was required to work as a nurse rather than a doctor. The excitement is difficult to describe to the people who were not present. The master dispensed with the services of his servant. This is a plain departure from the established norm. The train to Rajshahi departed from the platform. The depiction of the event in the media was divorced from reality. He drove to the river for an hour and turned north before we reached it. The university will build a new dormitory on campus. The committee decided to make an exception for him. He died by accident. Can you deter him from deceiving people? Nobody would drive against the fog. Exposed to Onabrito Rakha. Don't expose the syrup to babies. Expert at Doko. The girl is expert at drawing. Expert in Doko. Mr. Jamil is expert in English. Excuse from অথবা excuse of ক্ষমা করা. The headmaster excused him from fine. Excuse for কৈফিয়ত. His excuse for his absence was not granted. Expect from আশা করা. I expect a good result from my younger brother. Exalt over আনন্দ করা. Don't exalt over a defeated foe. Exclude from বাদ দেওয়া. He was excluded from the list. Exclusive of বাদ দিয়ে. The rent of the house is 5,000 টাকা exclusive of current bill. Exhausted with ক্লান্ত. I am exhausted with hard work. Eager for উৎসুক. A greedy man is eager for riches. Earnest in আগ্রহী. Students should be earnest in their studies. Easy of সহজে. The problem is easy of solution. Eligible for যোগ্য. He is not eligible for the post. Emerge from বের হওয়া. Suddenly a tiger emerged from the bush. End in follow দলে হওয়া. All his attempts ended in smoke. Endowed with ভূষিত. Shere Bangla was endowed with many qualities. Engaged to বাগদত্তা. She is engaged to a doctor. Engaged in নিমগ্ন. He is engaged in writing a book. Enveloped in আচ্ছন্ন. The sky is enveloped in black clouds. Envy at অথবা envy of কোনো কিছুতে ঈর্ষা. His heart was filled with envy at my grand success. Envious of ঈর্ষা পরায়ণ. He is envious of my success. Inquire of অথবা inquire about তদন্ত করা. He inquired of my whereabout. Enter into we have recently entered into an agreement with the Inland Cooperative Society. Enlist in তালিকাভুক্ত হওয়া. He is enlisted in the party. Equal in অথবা equal with সমকক্ষ. I am equal in rank with you. Equally with সমানভাবে. The manager is to blame equally with the clerk. Escape from মুক্তি. Man has no escape from death. Essential to অত্যাবশ্যক. Sound health is essential to success in life. Excel in দক্ষ. The boy excels in painting. Exception to ব্যতিক্রম. There is an exception to every rule. Exempt from নিষ্কৃতি পাওয়া. The poor student was exempt from tuition fees. Exile from নির্বাসিত. The king was exiled from the country. Experience in অভিজ্ঞতা. Professor Abdul Rashid has vast experience in English. Entitled to অধিকারী. I am entitled to a share in the profit. Entrust with বিশ্বাস করে দেওয়া. The children were entrusted with the care of their uncle. Government has been entrusted to elected politician. Entrust to বিশ্বাস করে দেওয়া. Entrust to somebody. Government has been entrusted to elected politician. Equal to যোগ্য. He was equal to the task. Essential for অত্যাবশ্যক. Experience is essential for this job. Please emphasize the necessity of arriving early. We have recently entered into an agreement with the Inland Cooperative Society. Her relatives dislikes Rina because she unreally emphasized their mistake. She unreally emphasized on their mistakes. His speech was articulate and I asked him to expand on his ideas. I eat that as an excuse for conversation. She excels in MS Office. There is still on way to wholly escape from the effects on the layers of gases enveloping the earth. You can have no excuse for behaving rudely. He was equal to the task. The place was quite except for the chattering of a few birds. Faith in বিশ্বাস. I have faith in his honesty. Faith with বিশ্বস্ততা. He has broken faith with me. Faithful to বিশ্বস্ত. The dog is a faithful animal to its master. Failure of সাফল্যহীনতা. The failure of my younger brother in the examination astonished me. False to অবিশ্বাসী. The boy is false to his teacher. Familiar with ঘনিষ্ঠ. I am familiar with him. Famous for বিখ্যাত. Mohsin is famous for his kindness. Favorable for অনুকূল. The soil is favorable for growing organs. Growing oranges. Favor of পক্ষে. His report was in favor of me. Fear of ভয়. The rich are in fear of their lives. Fear for ভয় করা. The rich fear for their lives. Fearful of ভীত. I am fearful of enemies. Feed on খেয়ে বেঁচে থাকা. The cow feeds on grass. Fire at গুলি করা. The police fired at the criminal. Fire upon গুলি করা. The police fired upon the mob. Filled with পূর্ণ. The sailors were filled with fear. Fine for জরিমানা. He had to pay a heavy fine for his misbehavior. fit for উপযুক্ত, he is fit for the post, fix to লাগানো, fix the stamp to the envelope, fond of প্রিয়, I am fond of meat, fondness for পছন্দ, I have fondness for sweets, foreign to অজ্ঞাত, to tell a lie is foreign to an honest man, forgetful of বিস্মরণশীল, man is forgetful of the past, free from মুক্ত, man is not free from cares and anxieties, free of ব্যতীত, the goods reached free of cost, frown at ভ্রুকুটি করা, the teacher frowned at the boy who made noise in the class, full of পরিপূর্ণ, the glass is full of dirty water, furnish with সাজানো, the college was furnished with fine furniture, face with সম্মুখীন হওয়া, he faced with a great problem, fail in ব্যর্থ হওয়া, I failed in my attempt to pursue her, fantasized about কল্পনা করা, he fantasized about winning the lottery, fatigued by ক্লান্ত, I am fatigued by wide traveling, fed up with বিরক্ত, I am fed up with waiting for her, he fantasized about winning the lottery. The police opened fire on the crowd to disperse. She had faith in and hopes for the future. Feed the baby on milk. Water is flowing over the danger point of the river. I am fearful of enemies. I am fatigued by wide traveling. He fell off his bike. The Thames flows through London. He was fined for negligence in doing his duty. Don't make a son of me. She has great fondness for classical music. I would frown upon that sort of snobbish attitude. The epic focuses on heroic deeds associated with war. Glad of সন্তুষ্ট, I am glad of your help. Glance at তাকানো, I glanced at the building. Glance over চোখ বোলানো, I glanced over the paper. Glimpse of এক পলক দেখা. The crowd were waiting to have a glimpse of the leader. Glory in গর্ব অনুভব করা. My parents glory in my success. Good at দক্ষ, Imran is good at cricket. Grateful to অথবা grateful for কৃতজ্ঞ, I am grateful to him for his kind help. Grasped at আঁকড়ে ধরা, he grasped at the shadow and lost the thing. Greedy of or after লোভী, a saint is not greedy of riches অথবা a saint is not greedy after riches. Grieve at or for or about or over দুঃখ করা. My parents grieved at my unsuccessful attempt অথবা my parents grieved for my unsuccessful attempt অথবা my parents grieved about my unsuccessful attempt. Grumble at অথবা grumble about অথবা grumble over অসন্তোষ প্রকাশ করা. A coward grumbles at his lot অথবা a coward grumbles about his lot. Guard from পাহারা দেওয়া, the watch guards our house from thieves. Guard against সতর্ক থাকা, we must guard against our mistakes. Gaze at অনুমান করা, Wordsworth failed to gaze at Reaper's song. Guilty of দোষী, the servant was guilty of theft. Genius for দক্ষতা, he had a genius for convincing people. Get into মিশে যাওয়া, when rivers flood their banks they calcium gets into the soil. Give in মেনে নেওয়া, the government gave in the demands of the oppositions. Go down ডুবে যাওয়া, the child went down in the pond. Guard the children against bad company. The disgruntled man grumbled at his fate. God is good to me. Put some sugar in the tea. Lions are extremely good at weighing up their odds of success in terms of the numbers of themselves. A conscious student is usually good at and interested in social science. Is there anything good on television this evening? I want to go abroad after my studies. Go এর পরে কোনো preposition হবে না. The habit of chewing tobacco has been growing upon him. Hanker after ললায়িত. A saint does not hanker after riches. Hatred of or hatred for. Hatred of anybody. অথবা we should not have hatred for anybody. Heed to মন দিয়ে শোনা. The sons did not pay heed to their father's advice. Hear of উত্তরাধিকারী ব্যক্তি. Mohsin has no hear of his property. অথবা Mohsin has no hear to his property. Hesitate at ইতস্তত করা. A brave man does not hesitate at anything. Hinder from বাধা দেওয়া. My father hindered me from going to cinema. Hindrance to বাধা. Poverty is hindrance to my success. Hint at আভাস দেওয়া. I hinted him at the matter. Hope of অথবা hope for আশা. A coward has no hope of success in life. অথবা a coward has no hope for success in life. Hopeful of আশাবাদী. Kenta is hopeful of her success. Hit upon মতলব খাটানো. We hit upon a plan. Hostile of বিরোধী. The Pak armies were hostile to the freedom fighters. Hostile to বিরোধী. The Pak armies were hostile to the freedom fighters. Hunt after or hunt for অন্য হয়ে ফেরা. Do not hunt after wealth অথবা do not hunt for wealth. Heart of মূল বিষয়. We should discuss the heart of the matter. Hing upon নির্ভর করা. The whole case hinges upon this point. I have no money in hand. He is hard of hearing. They own the match hands down. He is an heir to his uncle's property. I was horrified at the sight of so many distress. He was hugged by his wife. Ignorant of Oggo, he is ignorant of the murder. Ill with Pirito, it will go ill with me if I do not abide by my father's advice. Immersed in Nimojito, one should not be immersed in debt. Impatient of Odhir, the workers are impatient of delay. Imposed upon Dharjo Kora, the duty was imposed upon me. Impressed with Abhibhuta Kora, I was impressed with the stern senses of duty. Incentive to Utshahodayok, bonus is incentive to workers. Include in Antorbhukta Kora, my name was included in the list. Inclination to Probonota, she has a deep inclination to music, অথবা she has a deep inclination for music. Incumbent on কর্তব্য, it is incumbent on us to help the poor. Indebted to ঋণী, I am greatly indebted to my teachers. Indifferent to উদাসীন, students should not be indifferent to their studies. Indispensable to একান্ত আবশ্যক, sincere workers are indispensable to our country. Influence over প্রভাব, the old man has no influence over his sons. Influence on অথবা influence upon, the advice of the teacher bore influence on the students, অথবা the advice of the teacher bore influence upon the students. Influenced by প্রভাবিত, I am influenced by my father's honesty. Inform against কাহারো বিরুদ্ধে অভিযোগ আনা, the villagers informed the police against the murder. Inform of কোন বস্তু সম্বন্ধে জানানো, I informed him of his result. Inherent in সহজাত, honesty is inherent in Jerry. Innocent of নির্দোষ, the officer is innocent of the charge. Inquire of অথবা inquire about জিজ্ঞাসা করা, the police inquired of him about the murder. Insist on জিত করা, he insisted on my going to cinema. Inspire with অনুপ্রাণিত করা, the advice of the teacher inspired us with courage. Instinct with অনুপ্রাণিত, Nazrul's poems are instinct with patriotic feelings. Interest in আগ্রহ, Monira takes interest in music. Interfere with অথবা interfere in অনধিকার চর্চা করা, he always interferes with my affairs অথবা he always interferes in my affairs. Intimate with ঘনিষ্ঠ, Jerry was intimate with Pet. Intimate to জানানো, please intimate to him about the result. Introduce to পরিচয় করা, I introduce my friend to my parents. Introduce upon অনধিকার প্রবেশ করা, I don't want you to introduce upon your discussion. Invest with ভূষিত করা, the captain was invested with new power. Involved in লিপ্ত হওয়া, the boy is involved in the affair. Irrelevant to অপ্রাসঙ্গিক, his remark is irrelevant to the subject. Irrespective of নির্বিচারে, all are equal irrespective of caste and creed. Impute to অন্যায়ভাবে দায়ী করা, do not impute to his motives. Incapable of অক্ষম, she is incapable of doing such a thing. Independent of স্বাধীন, she is independent of my help. Indulge in আসক্ত হওয়া, do not indulge in wine. Indulge with প্রশ্রয় দেওয়া, you indulged him with your support. Inferior to হীন বা নিচু, Rabina is inferior to Romana. Infested with উপদ্রুত, this house is infested with rats. Inquire into খতিয়ে দেখা, he shall inquire into the matter. In spite of সত্ত্বেও, in spite of the delay, he arrived on time. Intent on দৃঢ় সংকল্প, she is intent on going there. Wordsworth introduced the readers to a new kind of poetry. My brother has no interest in music. You must rise above criticism in order to succeed. The revolution in art has not lost its steam. It rages on as fiercely as ever. I never interfere with my grown-up children. Youth is impatient of restraint. Do not impute motives to him. He is innocent of the church. He is intent on getting a good degree in chemistry. Did you get an invitation to the party? The people grew impatient at the burden of heavy taxation. Why is there so much interest in that war? Rio Carnival was introduced into Brazil by Portuguese in 1641 to celebrate their independence from Spanish domination. The committee had an inquiry into the case. She was very irritated at his behavior. Be irritated by অথবা at দুইটাই সঠিক উত্তর. I have no influence over my brother অথবা I have no influence on my brother. He is intent on visiting South Korea. Honesty is indispensable to success. We must start an inquiry into the case of the accident. I am ignorant about the matter অথবা I am ignorant of the matter. Jealous of ঈর্ষা পরায়ণ, he is jealous of my prosperity. Jeer at ঠাট্টা করা, we should not jeer at the poor. Just তামাশা করা, one should not jest at the poor. Join to or join with সংযোগ করা, the two families were joined with each other by marriage অথবা the two families were joined to each other by marriage. Judge by বিচার করা, we should not judge anyone by appearance. Jump into লাফ দেওয়া, the man jumped into the car. Justification for সমর্থন, there is no justification for his saying so. Do you mind if I join you? Join এর পর preposition হয় না. Don't jeer at me. The people rang the bell with joy. Key 2, Chabikati, industry is the key to success. Kind 2, Doyalu, the rich should be kind to the poor. Know about Jana, you do not know about the matter. Kill with Hotta Kora, I finally killed the fly with a rolled off newspaper. Lack of Obhab, he has lack of money. Lack in Obhab Hawa, he lacks in courtesy. Lame of Khora, the poor man is lame of one leg. Lament for Onutap Kora, one should not lament for the past. Laugh at Thatta Kora, we should not laugh at the poor. Lavish of Mitobei, he is lavish of money. Level with Shaman Kora, distinction between the rich and the poor should be leveled with. Liable to, Dai, man is liable to error. Liable for, Dai, Jerry was not liable for breaking of the axe handle. Likeness to, Shadrisho, he recognized the girl by her likeness to her mother. Liking for, Posondo, I have no liking for him. Live in, Bash Kora, man lives in society. Live on, Khe Jibon Dharon Kora, the cow lives on grass. Long for, Puttasha Kora, man longs for peace and happiness. Lost in, Noshto Hawa, the building was lost in a storm. Lead to, Niye Jawa, the traditional method of rice cultivation leads to a yield of about 700 kg of 700 kg of almond paddy. Learn of অথবা learn about শেখা বা জানতে পারা. I have recently learned about the matter. Liberate from অথবা liberate in মুক্ত করা. Bangladesh was liberated from Pakistan in 1971. Lit with আলোকিত. Nowadays many villagers are lit with electricity অথবা lit by electricity. The intellectual can no longer be said to live beyond the margin of society. I know nothing as to the boy. I kept the pencil inside the pencil box. You should have a limit on your demands. One should not lament for the past. Nepal lies between India, China and Bhutan. Distinction between the rich and the poor should be leveled off. I will take leave of him. I will take leave of him. The man lapsed into past memories. Teenagers are vulnerable to making selfish and self-destructive mistakes. You can always look up her address in the dictionary if you have forgotten it. Please lend me a hand with this trunk. We do not accept liability for any losses or damage. We do not accept liability for any losses or damage. Married to Bibahito. Nusrat was married to Jahangir, martyred to Shohid. The freedom fighters were martyrs to the independence of Bangladesh. Match for Tulonio. The girl is no match for the man. Meditate on অথবা আপন গভীরভাবে চিন্তা করা. One should not meditate upon the past actions. Meet with সম্মুখীন হওয়া. The boy met with an accident. Mindful of monojogi. The student is mindful of his studies. Mix with Mesha. He does not mix with other boys. Merge with Milito Hawa. They merged with bad boys. Mourn for শোক করা. England mourns for the fallen. Moved by বিচলিত হওয়া. I was moved by his sense of courtesy. Muse on গভীরভাবে চিন্তা করা. He mused on his lot. Make up of গঠিত. The team is made up of 11 players. Monument to স্মৃতি ভাস্কর্য. The monument to our left is a popular tourist attraction. Paper is made from wood. His friends mourned for the death of his mother. Somebody meddled with my computer. Meddled in others' affair অর্থ অন্যের ব্যাপারে নাক গলানো. His motive for the murder is not known. The professor will be here in a moment. Be mindful of your duties. Natural to স্বাভাবিক. Death is natural to all. Necessity for আবশ্যকতা. I have no necessity for the book. Necessity to প্রয়োজনীয়তা. Rest is necessity to me now. Necessary for দরকারি. Industry is necessary for success. Need of প্রয়োজন. I am badly in need of a seat in the hostel. Neglectful of অমনোযোগী. Students should not be neglectful of their studies. Negligent in অমনোযোগী. Students should not be negligent in their duties and responsibilities. Noted for খ্যাত. Mohoshin was noted for his kindness. English is badly required for global communication also. Also it is needed for pursuing higher studies. He had a need for and an interest in athletics. His boss often found him negligent of work. Object to আপত্তি করা. I objected to his proposal. Objection to অথবা objection against আপত্তি. I have no objection to his proposal অথবা I have no objection against his proposal. Obliged to অথবা obliged for বাধিত. I am obliged to you for granting my prayer. Obligatory on বাধ্যতামূলক. It is obligatory on sons to look after their old parents. Oblivious of বিস্মৃত. Man is oblivious of the past. Observant of পর্যবেক্ষক. The teacher is observant of the student's feeling. Obstacle to বাধা. Poverty was obstacle to his success in life. Occupied with ব্যস্ত. Mr. Khan is occupied with his books. Occupied in ব্যাপৃত. He is occupied in writing a grammar. Offend against লঙ্ঘন করা. You have offended against college discipline. Offensive to পীড়াদায়ক. The smell of this scent is offensive to me. Open to Unmukto, the National Zoo is open to all. Opportunity for Shujuk. I have missed an opportunity for going abroad. Opportunity of Shubida. I have no opportunity of going abroad. Opposition to Birodhita. Students raised a strong opposition to the order of the principal. Originate with অথবা originate from উৎপন্ন হওয়া all rivers of Bangladesh originate from the Himalayas. Originate in অথবা originate from শুরু হওয়া the fire originated in his shop. Oust from বহিষ্কার করা he was ousted from the college. Overwhelmed with অভিভূত the widow was overwhelmed with grief. Owe to ঋণী হওয়া I owe to my teacher. On TV television I watched the film on TV. My friend always goes home on foot. We opted for reconciliation of the dispute. I strongly object to your way of approach to the problem. I am in favor of fishing, but opposed to hunting. Poverty is often an obstacle to higher studies. Parallel to সমান্তরাল this line is parallel to that. Parody on অথবা parody of বিদ্রুপাত্মক নকল the poem is a parody on a poem of নজরুল. Part from কোনো ব্যক্তিগত বিচ্ছিন্ন হওয়া the writer parted from Jerry. Part with কোনো বস্তু ত্যাগ করা I cannot part with this pen. Partial to পক্ষপাতদুষ্ট we should not be partial to our relatives. Partially to বা partiality for পক্ষপাতিত্ব I have no partiality for my relatives. Passion for ভাবাবেগ Shakila has deep passion for music. Patient of Shoishnu. The sick man is patient of his sufferings. Patience with Dhurjo. The father lost all his patience with his son. Permit of Monjor Hawa. His conduct permits of no excuse. Play at Khela Kora. Students should not play at cards. Play on Bajano. The third girl played on a tune. Play with Khela Khela Kora. Don't play with matches. Plead for Abedan Kora. The poor pleaded for justice but in vain. Plead against Pokho Somorthone Badanubat Kora. I pleaded against his conduct. Plunged in Nimojito. He is plunged in deep study. Ponder over গভীরভাবে চিন্তা করা the boy is pondering over the mistakes. Popular with অথবা popular for জনপ্রিয় the principal is popular with the pupils for his politeness. Possessed of অধিকারী Mohsin was possessed of vast wealth. Precaution against সতর্কতা we should take precaution against disease. Prefer to পছন্দ করা he prefers reading to writing. Preferable to পছন্দনীয় milk is preferable to tea. Prejudiced against পূর্ব সংস্কার I have no prejudice against any religion. Prejudicial to ক্ষতি করা smoking is prejudicial to health. Prepare for প্রস্তুতি লওয়া Bobby is preparing for the examination. Preside over সভাপতিত্ব করা the principal presided over the meeting. Pretend to ভান করা Hamlet pretended to madness. Pretext for ছল his headache is a pretext for his not attending the class. Prevent from বিরত করা my father prevented me from going to cinema. Previous to পূর্ব previous to that he was a typist. Pre to স্বীকার স্বরূপ one should not be pre to greed. Pride in গর্ব করা he takes pride in his wealth. Proficient in দক্ষ our principal is proficient in English. Profit by লাভবান হওয়া students are profited by their teachers instruction. Profitable to লাভজনক the cooperative shop was profitable to the students. Prohibit from বিরত রাখা I prohibited him from going to cinema. Prompt in তৎপর Jerry was prompt in doing his duties. Promotionate to সমানুপাতিক punishment should be proportionate to crime. Protect from রক্ষা করা there was no cloud to protect the soul. Sailors from the burning sun. Provide against দুর্দিনের জন্য সঞ্চয় করা everyone should provide something against rainy days. Provide with there he provided me with a loading. Pass by পাশ দিয়ে যাওয়া he passed by but didn't notice me. Penalty for অথবা penalty with শাস্তি he has paid the penalty for his crimes with 5 years in prison. Perfect for সঠিক that race is perfect for you. Take pity on দয়া God took pity on him. Point out চিহ্নিত করা mistakes should be pointed out in a student's work. Poring over যত্ন সহকারে পড়া বা দেখা on the night before the exam she was seen poring over the books. Pray for প্রার্থনা করা we pray for your success. Prevail on রাজি করানো prevail upon রাজি করানো I prevailed on my friend I prevailed upon my friend to lend me টাকা 5000. Naureen will discuss the issue with Nasir over phone. He parted from his friends in tears. He has paid the penalty for his crimes with 5 years in prison. The walls of our house have been painted green. No preposition. Prior to means before. Death is preferable to humiliation. Choose the correct center. He agreed to my proposal. He persisted in misunderstanding me. His illness is a mere pretext for his absence. I am pleased to hear about your promotion. He prides himself on his wealth. Rashid will come to Bangladesh by plane. Fill in the blank. I shall do it with pleasure. The teacher is popular with his students. He lost his phone. The cinema hall. এখানে কোনো preposition নাই. He did not profit by experience. I have no prejudice against any religion. We are proud of our Nobel laureate, Professor Dr. Mohammad Yunus. He prevented me from going there. Mistakes should be pointed out in a student's work. God took pity on him. The customer gets what he pays for. After the football match, the crowd poured out of the stadium into the nearest cafe and restaurants. Can you put me up for the weekend? Man gives protection to his wife and children. He himself prefers to speak very little. I don't have any prejudice against poetry. He was pleased with the job. The train was prevented from leaving because of a single failure. Prior to the discovery of insulin, it was not possible to treat diabetes. He passed by, but he would pluck at his beard. The walls of our garden have been painted white. I am proud of your brilliant result. He has paid the penalty for his crimes with 5 years in prison. I prefer tea to coffee. His friends prevented him from going to school. The meeting was presided over by the Vice Chancellor. I am pleased at the news. He is popular with all for his goodness. I prohibited him from going there. Muna is on the phone right now. Many prefer donating money to distributing clothes. Will you pass by the rail station? Qualified for উপযুক্ত. He is qualified for the post. Quarrel with কারোর সাথে ঝগড়া করা. We should not quarrel with one another. Quarrel about কোনো বিষয়ে কলহ করা. The two brothers quarreled with each other about a piece of land. Quick at চটপটে. Jerry was quick at his words. He felt no qualms about borrowing money from his friend. This is a difficult question to answer. Roman is quick at mathematics. Relevant to প্রাসঙ্গিক. His remark was not relevant to the point. Relieved of মুক্ত. The servant was relieved of his works. Rely on নির্ভর করা. The author is relied on Jerry. Remarkable for বিখ্যাত. Khan Jahan Ali is remarkable for his social work. Remedy for প্রতিকার. There is no remedy for cancer. Remind of মনে করিয়ে দেওয়া. I reminded him of the accident. Repent of অনুতাপ করা. The old sailor repented of his sin. Repentance for অনুতাপ. The old man felt repentance for his sin. Replaced by স্থানান্তরিত করা. The beach was replaced by a new one. Requisite for প্রয়োজনীয় জিনিস. A haji has to take many requisites for pilgrimage. Resort to গ্রহণ করা. The authority resorted to force to put down anarchy. Respect for bhakti. Students should have respect for their teachers. Respond to জবাব দেওয়া. God cannot but respond to the call of a man. Responsible to দায়ী. We are responsible to Allah. Restrict to সীমাবদ্ধ. Admission to Dhaka City College is restricted to only first division students. Result of fall. The result of dishonesty is terrible. Result from উদ্ভূত হওয়া. Misery result from vice. Result in ফলে পর্যবসিত হওয়া. Vice results in misery. Retire from অবসর গ্রহণ করা. The principal retired from service. Retire to বিশ্রাম করা. He has retired to bed. Revenge upon প্রতিশোধ গ্রহণ করা. Immortal gods revenged upon the lady. Rich in সমৃদ্ধ. Bangladesh is rich in natural gas. Rob of চুরি করা. The servant robbed me of everything. Ready at দক্ষ. He is ready at passing running community. Ready for প্রস্তুত. They are ready to do anything for the country. Reason with তর্ক করা. The students should not reason with the teachers. Rebel against বিদ্রোহ করা. The workers rebelled against the mill owner. Reconciled with মিটমাট করা. Samson reconciled with his wife. Reconciled to মেনে নেওয়া. Samson has reconciled to his Lord. Recover from আরোগ্য লাভ করা. The patient has recovered from his illness. Reduced to পরিণত হওয়া. The old man has been reduced to poverty. Referred to ইঙ্গিত করা. The case was referred to police for inquiry. Reflect upon চিন্তা করা. Samson reflected upon his past life. Refrain from বিরত হওয়া. Father refrained me from going to cinema. Regard for ভক্তি. Students should have regard for their teachers. Regard to প্রসঙ্গ. In regard to his character, I know nothing. Reliant on নির্ভরশীল. Most young people would like to be less reliant on their parents. Reputation for something. Kathy. He has reputation for honesty. Return to ফিরে আসা. Tanya returned to London by plane from Dhaka. Revolt against আন্দোলন করা. The prisoners revolted against the jailer. Revolt at বিদ্রোহ করা. Human nature revolts at a crime. Road to পথ বা উপায়. There is no royal road to learning. Run into জড়িয়ে পড়া. Do not run into debt. Run on বিরতিহীন চলা. The train is running on time. Run over চাপা পড়া. The man was run over by a car. He refrained from taking any drastic action. Choose a correct sentence. He refrained from taking any drastic action. My wife reminded me of my appointment. Fill in the blanks. Frustration results in violence. Do not run into debt. My friend reposed his trust in me. You should be repented for your misdeeds. He had to repent of what he has done. The road runs across hill and plain. He relieved me from anxiety. We are related to each other by marriage. There is no royal road to learning. Don't run after shadows. I remind him of his promise. He is resolved on going away. He has retired from business and moved into private life completely. You should refrain yourself from smoking. He ran into debt. He ran along the riverbank with full speed. Teenagers are often rude to their elders. I have great respect for him. There is no reason for being absent. Return the camera by hand. Return the camera by hand. Your remark is not relevant to the point. They ran for their lives when they saw the snake. Protracted illness has reduced him to a skeleton. A symphony is related to Western music. I have great respect for him. You should not run into debt. Every driver must be held responsible for his own actions. Sanguine of Ashabadi. I am sanguine of my success. Satisfied with Santushto. Man should be satisfied with what he has. Satisfied of Santushto. The author was satisfied of Jerry's honesty. Satisfaction in Santosh. The officer feels satisfaction in his conduct. Search for Anusandhan Kora. The police search for the criminal. Secure from Nirapod. The village is secured from the attacks of wild animals. Seek for Khoj Kora. Man seeks for bread. Sensible of Abogato. The politician is sensible of the danger ahead. Sensitive to Songbedanshil. Jerry was sensitive to motherly love and sympathy. Short of Abagrusto. The college is short of funds. Sick of Planto. Ulysses was sick of idle life. Side with Boko Grohan Kora. I sided with him. Similar to Shomar. Ignorance is similar to darkness. Sin against Papora. The old sailor sinned against God. Slave to that. Man should not be slave to his passion. Smile upon Prashanna Hawa. Fortune smiles upon the brave. Smile at Bidrup Kora. The rich should not smile at the poor. Sneer at Nak Shitkano. Man should not sneer at anybody. Solicit for Abedon Kora. The flood affected people solicited the government for help. I am sorry for my rude behavior. Stare at Ek Drishte Chawa. Jim stared at Della. Startled at Ashatanita Hawa. The winter was startled to see the bill of fare. Stick to Lege Thaka. I shall stick to my principle. Subject to Nirbhorshil. The poor are subject to hardship. Submit to Noti Shikar Kora. Man must submit to his fate. Subordinate to Odhin. The teaching staff of an academy is subordinate to the principal. Subscribe to Chada Deva. We must subscribe to the poor fund. Subversive to Thongshokari. He did not take part in any activity subversive of the state. Succeed in Shakuno Lakora. He succeeded in his mission. Succeeded to Uttaradhikari Hawa. Generally, sons and daughters succeeded to their parents' property. Sufficient for Joteshto. The saving of Della was not sufficient for her purpose. Suffer from Shojokora. The poor suffer from many troubles. Suitable for Upajukto. He is suitable for the post. Suited to Upajukto. His comment was suited to the occasion. Supply with Kono Kichu Sorboroh Kora. The Lilliputians supplied Gulliver with meat. Supply to Kauke Kono Kichu Sorboroh Kora. The Lilliputians supplied meat to Gulliver. Sure of Nichit. I am sure of my success. Susceptible of Grohan Khom. Capable of. The poem is susceptible of secondary meaning. Susceptible to Unubhuti Probon. The baby is susceptible to cold. Suspicious of Shandha Probon. The police is suspicious of his movement. Sympathy for Shohanubhuti. The rich should have sympathy for the poor. Sympathize with. The author has sympathized with Jerry. Synonym for Shomarth Hobodo. He gave a synonym for the hard word. Shout at Chikkar Kore Daka. If people can't hear you, do you shout at them? Solution to Shomathan. Money is not the solution to every problem. Stake in Shambhavana. We have a stake in our future. Superior to Utkrishto. Sympathize with. The author has sympathized with Jerry. Synonym for Shomarth Hobodo. He gave a synonym for the hard word. Shout at Chikkar Kore Daka. If people can't hear you, do you shout at them? Solution to Shomathan. Money is not the solution to every problem. Stake in Shambhavana. We have a stake in our future. Superior to Utkrishto. He is superior to me. Survive on something. Beche thaka. I can't survive on Taka 5,000 a month. Professor Rajak was a scholar. Proshne refuted পরিবর্তে report থেকে সঠিক উত্তর of a scholar of repute অর্থ বিখ্যাত scholar. Some writers sink into oblivion in course of time. Are you doing anything special at the weekend? The man sat down silently and took his food. Thus she sympathized with me. Fill in the blanks. I cannot stoop to meanness. The murderer was sentenced to death. No problem can be solved through violence. The fruit is sweet by the taste. She sent me that for Christmas. Della stood by the window. Choose the correct sentence. So swear in অর্থ শপথ করা। আবার বড় স্থানে ঢাকার পূর্বে preposition in হবে। A new cabinet has been sworn in Dhaka. He started at the face of the old man. He stared at the face of the old man. If people can't hear you, do you shout at them? His sympathy for the poor is praiseworthy. He is superior to me. I congratulate you on your success. They do not have enough capital to set themselves up in trade. He succeeded in passing the examination. We were surprised at his failure. The university programs are second only to those of Harvard. Money is not the solution to every problem. My brother specializes in physics. I was speaking to you. We sprinkle parsley on the tomatoes. Do you know the solution to the economic crisis? Do you know the solution to the problem? The winter has set in very late this year. We did our boat in the bushes and set up a camp by the river. He was not arrested because he was not subject to the same restrictions. Mita is sensitive to weather changes. The applicants are selected for admission on the result of a competitive examination. His words are susceptible to flattery. Choose the correct sentence in the following. He succeeded in gaining the prize. One should stick to his ideals to be clear to his concise. Fortune never smiles on the lazy. The managers of the company is somewhat susceptible to flattery. I suspect him of treachery. Masum will stick to nothing. My brother specializes in economics. I am ashamed of my mistakes. The cat sprang upon the table. Insert preposition. We supplied free medicine to them. This temple is sacred to Lord Vishnu. Fill in the blank with the appropriate phrase. I don't subscribe to his views. I am really sick of this kind of behavior. He did not take part in any activity subversive to the state. Death snatched him away in the prime of life. Choose the correct sentence. He is senior to me. He was shocked at his father's sudden death. Tell, talk to, অথবা talk about, অথবা talk over. ফুলে আলোচনা করা. The authoress did not talk to Miss Clark about Jerry's mother. Taste of স্বাদ. I have had taste of bitter experience of life. Taste for পছন্দ. I have no taste for music. Thankful for অথবা thankful to কৃতজ্ঞ. We should be thankful to God. Thirst for বাসনা. Man has unquenchable thirst for knowledge. Tired with ক্লান্ত. I am tired with hard work. Tried of বিরক্ত. I am tried of his flattery. Tolerant of সহনশীল. Poets are tolerant of others' criticism. Triumph over জয়লাভ করা. Truth triumphs over falsehood. True to অটল. I am true to my word. Trust to নির্ভর করা. I trusted the work to him. Trust with বিশ্বাস করা. I trusted him with the money. Trust in বিশ্বাস করা. We trust in Allah. Take pity on দয়া করা. Take pity on the poor. Taste in রুচি. I have no taste in music. Translated from into অনুবাদ করা. Shakespeare's play have been translated from English into many languages. Treat of আলোচনা করা. This book treats of music. Treat to খাওয়ানো. He treated us to a dinner. Treat with ব্যবহার করা. He treated well with me. Find the correct use of the word with. Be patient with him. The teacher was trembling with rage. At last the mob took to the street chanting slogans. A gentleman should be true to his words. I took to walking, hoping to lose some weight. The passerby is tired of the long walk. She wrote the novel as a tribute to the sacrifice made by freedom fighters in 1971. If you study hard, you will have no trouble in the admission test. Shakespeare's plays have been translated from English into many languages. Thanks to his timely rescue, the child escaped death. In some countries, much of the natural environment has been transformed into farmland as a result of a subsequent loss of species richness. Mr. Hawk's strange taste for clothes make him freaky. The child was easily taken in by a cock and bull story told by his father. Her talk on language and communication was too technical for us to understand. We all thrust over happiness. Over হচ্ছে ট্রাস্ট ভার্বের পরে ফর অথবা আফটার প্রিপোজিশন বসে. He is true to his king. The scientist talked about his new theory. She gaily talked of art and literature. His gloomy countenance testifies to his guilt. I took him for an honest person. Honest had a talent of making people laugh. The passerby is tired of the long walk. Water turns into vapor at 100 degrees Celsius. The plane takes off midway. Union with Milon. Generally, a husband's union with his wife after a pretty quarrel. Unite with Milon Hawa. Samson did not unite with his wife. Urge upon Pira Piri Kora. The people urged upon the politician for donation. Use for provision. I have no use for the book. Use of provision. There is no use of buying the book. Used to Augusto. JD was used to hard work. Useful to Proyojonio. Trees are useful to us in many ways. Under trial. Bicharadin. The case is under trial. Ensure of Onishit. He was unsure of himself. We should not get upset by things that are beyond our control. Computers are very useful in creating different types of graphics. It is quite unkind of you to criticize me. He was unsure of himself. Vain of Gorbito. The lady is vain of her dress. Vary from Prithakwa. Opinion varies from man to man. Versed in Doko. Shere Bangla was versed in politics. Vest in Orpon Kora. The power has been vested in the minister. Vest with Orpon Kora. The minister has been vested with power. Vexed with Birokto. Tarek was vexed with the rude behavior of other students. Victim of Shikar. The poor man was a victim of the circumstance. Victim to Shikar. Bangladesh falls a victim to flood every year. We with Protijogita Kora. The sycophants vied with one another to append the leader. Visit to Poridorshan. The inspector went on a visit to the college. Void of Birohito. His words are void of meaning. Vote for vote dawa. He voted for me. Valid for Boitho. This passport will be valid for 1 year. He is vulnerable to criticism. If I were you, I would take a more optimistic view on the matter. The view through the open window is very pretty. The ticket is valid for 6 months. Wait for Opekha Kora. They waited for us at the station. Wait upon Sheba Kora. A nurse waits upon the patient. Want of. I have wanted of money. Wink at. Dekeu na dekha. Parents should not wink at their sons' fault. Parents should not wink at their sons' wish for. Bashona Kora. Man wishes for happiness. Wonder at Obak Hawa. The porter wondered at the beauty of the 3 girls. Worthy of Jogo. Jerry was worthy of praise. Walk up. Protoy shate ege jawa. Please walk up the stairs. Wonder about. Ghure berano. The boy wanders about in the streets. With a view to Uddeshe. He come here with a view to looking me. Work for Chakri Kora. He works for a law firm. The government has extended warm welcome to the visiting delegation. He always wakes up in the morning. The boy wanders about in the streets. Having missed the bus, Sheila had to wait for the next one. His manners are witness to his rudeness. John asked Nicholas for help, but it turned out that he was even worse at math than him. He walked to the end of the road. I have been wondering visiting Japan. They are wonderful for the digestion. The examiner is working over the scripts. Bangladesh won a grand victory over New Zealand. Yelled to Noti Shikar Kora. Man must yell to fate. Yearn for. Othoma yearn to Akanka Kora. People yearn for a glimpse of the popular leaders. You yearn to return your home. Jealous for Utshahi. A slave is always jealous for freedom. Jest for Onurag. Nita has jest for music. Jail for Utshahi. Begum Rokeya had a great jail for education. Fill in the blank with correct preposition. We should not yield to any pressure. Bangladesh should never yield to foreign pressure. The conjunction একটি পার্ট অফ স্পিচ যা একটি সেন্টেন্সের একাধিক ওয়ার্ড ফ্রেজকে এবং ক্লজকে যুক্ত করে। কনজাংশন সাধারণত 3 প্রকার: কোঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন, সাবঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন এবং কোরিলেটিভ কনজাংশন। কোঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন and as well as, but, not only, either, or, however, while, therefore, then ইত্যাদি হচ্ছে কোঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন। And as well as, but, not only, either, or, however, while, therefore, এগুলো হচ্ছে কোঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন। সাবঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন: before, as, because, since, lest, that, if, in case of, as if, though, although, so, as, so, then, after এটা হচ্ছে সাবঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন। কোরিলেটিভ কনজাংশন: neither nor, either or, not only but also, not less than, both, and ইত্যাদি হচ্ছে কোরিলেটিভ কনজাংশন। নট টু বি কনফিউজড: বিফোর, আফটার, সিন্স, ফর প্রভৃতি প্রিপোজিশন ও কনজাংশন উভয়রূপে ব্যবহৃত হতে পারে। শি পারফর্মড বিফোর দ্য অডিয়েন্স, এখানে বিফোর হচ্ছে প্রিপোজিশন। দ্য ট্রেন হ্যাড লেফট বিফোর উই রিচড দ্য স্টেশন, এখানে বিফোর হচ্ছে conjunction. He is poor but honest in this sentence, which is conjunction. But he is poor but honest in this sentence, which is conjunction. But you can ask for help whenever you need it. Although glass is for all practical purpose a solid, its molecular structure is that of a liquid. I visited the Taj Mahal. Whenever I go to Agra, I will carry an umbrella in case it rains. In the sentence, he is taller than I. The underlined word then is conjunction. She was absent because of her cold. In which sentence that is used as a conjunction. He worked hard that he may succeed. এখানে that হচ্ছে conjunction. Which one is conjunction or conjunction? Conjunction কোনটি? And he sat behind me but in front of you. Here he sat behind me but in front of you. Here but used at a conjunction. None but the brave deserves the fair. The underlined word but is a conjunction. I had to go to Dhaka because of my sister's marriage. Unless you work hard, you will not succeed. And unless is used as conjunction. Choose the correct passive speech of the underlined word. The book was neither well written nor interesting. এখানে neither nor হচ্ছে conjunction. No one knows what color dinosaurs were because no sample of their skin has survived. এখানে because. Put your money somewhere safe before it gets stolen. The fibrous membranes surrounding organs in the human body are taut and add strength to the part of the body. Which one of the following is correct sentence? Shaun is both an actress and a singer. Last week was as hot as this week. There is plenty of food. You can have as much as you like. She went home because she was tired. Because population control measures are expensive, many industries hesitate to adopt them. Hurry up, late for the examination. Because of his obstinacy, we could not reach any conclusion. The professor was considering postponing the examination until the following week because the students' confusion. Identify the conjunction. Because of the conjunction, he is going to work in England, so he is learning English. It was not until she had reached home when she remembered her appointment with the doctor. She left early so as not to be late for the test. Look before you leap. The word before used in the sentence is conjunction. I can't tell you how I did it. Which part of speech is the underlined word? How হচ্ছে conjunction. I will watch while you sleep. Here while is conjunction. As যেহেতু since যেহেতু if যদি besides ব্যতীত কারণ শর্ত এবং সময় প্রকাশে as অথবা since ব্যবহৃত হয় you can drive my car as you drive carefully শর্ত বোঝাতে if ব্যবহৃত হয় if এর বিস্তারিত পরিণতি বর্ণনা করা হয়েছে water boils if you heat it to 100 degrees centigrade ব্যতীত বা তাছাড়া বোঝাতে besides ব্যবহৃত হয় besides being clever she is very perceptive they suffered much since tornado had hit their village water boils if you heat it to 100 degrees centigrade you need $200 besides this to pay for everything much water has flowed through the Gangas since I left you. You can drive my car as you drive carefully. They suffered much since tornado had hit their village. Although small, the room is well furnished. He will end up in prison if he is not careful. Identify the correct sentence. Besides being clever, she is very perceptive. Although much as despite in spite of সত্য though সত্য although সত্য much as সত্য despite সত্য in spite of সত্য দুটি বিষয়ের একটিকে এড়িয়ে অন্যটিকে গুরুত্ব দেওয়ার ক্ষেত্রে though although much as in spite of despite ব্যবহৃত হয় I did not recognize him although he said we had met before much as I respect your point of view I cannot agree though he is poor he is honest in spite of the rain the cricket match was not cancelled although glass is for all practical purposes solid its molecular structure is that of a liquid choose the answer that is closest in meaning to the following sentence despite the great difference in size shape and function all human cells have the same 46 chromosomes although the 46 chromosomes are the same in all human cells there are difference in the size shape and function they suffered much since tornado had hit their village although they were rather tired after their long journey they did not go to bed though he is poor he is honest although traffic in Dhaka city is increasing no one is doing anything about it even though she cannot drive she bought a car they climbed the mountain although it was windy I did not recognize him although he said he had met before much as I respect your point of view I cannot agree although penicillin continues to be used widely some strains of bacteria have developed a resistance to the drug although Rupak did not try very hard he was still able to win the race although the restaurant was small the food was excellent although I didn't understand everything I enjoyed the lecture the train was late despite that I managed to arrive on time during all his attempts to solve the problem he failed despite all his attempts to solve the problem he failed despite all his attempts to solve the problem he failed I did not raise my voice despite my disagreement although he has created a striking stage setting for the Martha Graham Dance Company artist Isamu Noguchi is more famous for his sculpture although most people consider the tomato a vegetable botanists classify it as a fruit in spite of the rain the cricket match was not cancelled in spite of having married she failed in case যদি ঘটনাক্রমে পূর্ব সতর্কতা অবলম্বন বোঝাতে in case বসে I will buy some candle in case there are more electricity cuts the right word to fill in the gap of the following sentence give her a telephone number to ring in case she gets lost I always take an umbrella in case it rains I will write down the phone number in case I forget he will carry an umbrella in case it rains you should secure your bicycle in case it is stolen while going to office take your umbrella by the chance in case it rains while going to office take your umbrella in case it rains 2 এতই যে পারে না 2-2 বসলে সেন্টেন্স নাবোধক অর্থ প্রদান করে। 2 প্লাস অ্যাডজেক্টিভ অ্যাডভার্ব 2 প্লাস V1। দ্য ম্যান ইজ টু ডিসঅনেস্ট টু স্পিক দ্য ট্রুথ। 2 plus adjective plus 4 plus noun pronoun হচ্ছে। The bag is too heavy for him to carry. Do not worry, English grammar is not too difficult to understand. The bag is too heavy for him to carry. The man is too dishonest to speak the truth. Choose the correct sentence. I am too busy to talk to you. He works too slowly to complete in time. Which of the following is a correct sentence? He was too clever to miss the point. It is now too much expensive to repair the damage which has been done. He is too weak to work. Till, until, যতক্ষণ না, এবং and এবং কনজাংশন দুটি নেগেটিভ অর্থ বহন করে, তাই এদের পর নেগেটিভ শব্দ ব্যবহার করা যাবে না। Stay here until I return দুটি বা অধিক একই জাতীয় বিষয় বা ধারণাকে যুক্ত করতে কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্সে and ব্যবহৃত হয়। The vegetables were fresh and they were tasty. Choose the correct answer. How long did you wait? Till lunch time. Which of the following is conjunction here? And conjunction. Which of the following is a conjunction? And fill in the gap. Do not leave until I come. শূন্যস্থানে until till বা before যেকোনো একটি বসলে বাক্যের অর্থ সম্পূর্ণ হয়, তবে একক উত্তর হিসেবে until ধরা যায়। Stay here until I return. Bake the cakes. Bake the cakes until they are firm to the touch. Stay on the bus until the Birmingham and then change for London. Wait here until I return. Here the underlined word is until is a conjunction. Until they have been cooked, the seeds of the Kentucky coffee plant are poisonous. Dr. Mary Edwards Walker was a surgeon, soldier, and fighter for women's rights. Fill in the blank. The vegetables are fresh, they were tasty. Vegetables are fresh and they were tasty. Since information can cause both favor as well as pain, it is a good idea to check his temperature. এখানে as well as হচ্ছে conjunction. When যখন একটি ঘটনা সংঘটিত হওয়ার সময় অন্যটি সংঘটিত হওয়া বুঝালে when বসে। একটি ঘটনার ফলশ্রুতিতে অন্য ঘটনা সংঘটিত হলে when বসে। এক্ষেত্রে উভয় ক্লজে একই টেন্স হবে। কারণ হিসাবে ব্যবহৃত হতে পারে when বসে। সাপেক্ষতা বোঝালে when যুক্ত অংশ ফিউচার হয় না। সাপেক্ষতা না বোঝালে when যুক্ত অংশ ফিউচার হতে পারে। When he comes, I will go. I don't know when he will come. I visit the Taj Mahal when I go to Agra. 1971 was the year when Bangladesh came into being. He asked me when I went there. You must have heard of Helen Keller. Borrowing animals. Borrowing animals provide the paths for water in soil, and so do the roots of plants when they die and decay. So as to, in order to, so that, যাতে বা জন্য। উদ্দেশ্য বোঝাতে so as to, in order to অথবা so that ব্যবহৃত হয়। Example: We study so that we will pass in the examination. We study so that we may pass in the examination. We study so that we can pass in the examination. Another example: We studied so that we would pass in the examination. We studied so that we might, so that we could pass in the examination. Example 3: We had studied so that we would have passed in the examination. We had studied so that we might have passed the examination. We had studied so that we could have passed the examination. We eat so that we may live. The following two sentences can best be joined in this way. The sailor's throat was so dry that they could not speak. Which of the following completes the sentence? Those who prepare food know when to begin, so that it will be ready when it is wanted. But কিন্তু দুটি বিপরীত বিষয় বা ধারণাকে যুক্ত করতে কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্সে but বসে। He is poor but honest. He is poor but honest in the sentence which is conjunction but. Nobody but alone knew the way. The best conjunction to link. No offense is intended. I think you haven't understood the problem correctly. D number, but. He is poor but honest. In this sentence, but is conjunction. He ran fast, but he could not get the bus. He failed the test many times, but he didn't stop trying. The work was tedious, but I liked doing it mostly because it was the only thing I did with daddy. Dairying is concerned not only with the production of milk, but with the manufacture of milk products, such as butter and cheese. এখানে but হচ্ছে conjunction. As if, as though, যেন uses. অবাস্তব তুলনা বোঝাতে as if, as though ব্যবহৃত হয়। They treated me as if I were a child. They treated me as if I were a child. As well as এছাড়াও আরো। দুটি একই জাতীয় বিষয় যুক্ত করতে কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্সে as well as বসে। সেন্টেন্সে as well as দ্বারা দুটি ওয়ার্ড বা ফ্রেজ যুক্ত হলে তার আগে both বসে না। He is a guitarist as well as a pianist. He is both a guitarist and a pianist as well as an artist. They were singing as well as they could. They were singing as well as they could. So that, such that, এতই যে কোনো ঘটনার কারণের উপর অতিরিক্ত জোর দেওয়ার জন্য so that অথবা such that ব্যবহৃত হয়। It was such a hot day that we decided to